Thank you for joining us today. Today's event is hosted and organized by Silent Scream Foundation, a nonprofit organization in Ghana that works in the field of mental health care access, awareness, and destigmatization of mental health issues. Today's event is a mental wellness awareness training on the topic, recognizing common mental health ailments and symptoms. We're joined by Dr. Israel Owolabi. He's a medical doctor and an associate fellow of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria. Has joined us previously, and we are grateful to have him today. And he's bringing his over 17 years of training and expertise to the conversation today. Kindly note that today's session will be recorded so that it can be revisited by participants in the future. And so we'll upload the recording onto YouTube and make the link available so that if you want to revisit something, or if someone wasn't around to join the conversation, they can also have access to it. Let's please remember to keep our mics muted to avoid disruption so that we can hear Dr. clearly. Kindly take note of all questions that will come up while he's presenting, and we'll collate all of them and present them to him at the end of his talk. So you can type the questions in the chat. If you want to be anonymous, you can type them directly to the Silent Scream account as well. And finally, this event, like all previous ones, is free, and this is made possible through the work of Silent Scream Foundation. So please share what we do so that more people can know about us and we can spread this work further. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Silent Scream Foundation. You can also visit our website at silentscreamfoundation.org. All of these links will be available in the chat. Alternatively, you can Google Silent Scream Foundation and the website should come up. And you can learn more about what we do through these channels and how to get in touch with us. So please make sure to share for us to reach a wider audience. Thank you, and we hope to have an informative and enjoyable morning. Doc, please, you can go ahead.
Okay. Using this opportunity to welcome everyone to this platform this morning. Also to say happy International Children's Day to every one of us. You may be thinking, why am I saying happy Children's Day? Are we children? Yeah, we are always a child in the hand of God. He sees us as children, so one way or the other, and we are encouraged to have the mindset of the child, for us to have a very good relationship with our environment, with everyone in our environment. So once again, happy Children's Day. Are you hearing me well? Is everybody hearing me?
Yes, please, Doc. We can hear you.
Okay. So this morning we are looking at recognizing mental health ailments and symptoms. The purpose of this seminar or teaching is not to make you a psychiatrist, and it's neither to make you a psychologist. But one way or the other, you can be a source of help unto others. Because we need to recognize one fact that when there's a problem with your leg, it is the brain that will interpret that there's a problem with that leg. There's a problem with that leg. If you put too much pressure on it, it can cause more harm, can cause more damages to the leg. So because of the pain that is interpreted from your brain, you tend to tread softly. Likewise, we have problem with your stomach. You have stomach upset, and you're going to toilet frequently. It is the brain that will interpret it as a problem. So there are some things you should not eat at that point in time, so that it won't cause more harm than good. But when there's a problem with the brain, I need to let you know that there is no brain to interpret it. That's why most of our patients, they have what we call, they don't, okay, let me put it this way, they don't recognize the fact that there is a problem. They don't have insight into the fact that there is a problem. It is the immediate family members primary caregivers, families and friends around them that will recognize that there's a problem. They are the ones that will say that this is not the person we used to know. Things were not like this. These behaviors are very strange. This is not the kind of behavior we've known this person for. They are the ones that will raise alarm. Whereas the person that is having problem with saying that everything is okay with me, especially those who have bipolar affective disorder, we'll talk about it when we get there. So let's start from what health is. Like this is the same way I started from the last discussion we had, or the last presentation we had together. We look at health so that we cool down to, when we know what health is, we'll cool down to if someone has an ill health. So health is a state of complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being, not merely the absence of disease. Actually, the definition given by the World Health Organization, spiritual well-being was not included, but I deliberately included it because I know we can't just talk about physical, mental, and social well-being, because man is a spiritual being, without also not talking about spiritual well-being. So, and then this will now lead us to what mental health is. So mental health as defined by World Health Congress, organized by the World Health Organization some years back, said that it's a state of well-being where one realizes his full potential. The first thing is well-being, underline, a state of well-being, whereby one realizes his full potential. Full potential is very, very important because there is need for you to maximize your potential in order to have a good health, not to be in a state of well-being. And the person is able to cope with stress of life. There is always the stress of life. I remember the last time I told us that we can have a good stress and a bad stress. The good stress is the one we call eustress. And then the more the good stress we have, the better the performance at whatever we are doing. But when it gets to a state of diminishing return, then distress comes in. That is when problem comes in. So you need, if you are in a state of good mental health, you cope with stress of life, and you're able to work productively and fruitfully. That means if you are a nurse, your relationship with your patients is okay. If you are a family man, your relationship with your spouse and your children are okay. You work productively and fruitfully with them, and you are able to contribute to your community. Yes, your community, man is a social animal. So we evolved from a family and we are a member of a community. So we are expected to contribute one way or the other to the community we find ourselves. And you're able to do this to say that your mental health is good. And you're able to deal with inner world of thinking and feeling. Everybody has one form of ambition, word of feeling. Some people call it inner world of fantasy. You think, you look, you visualize what you want your future to be. But though at the present moment, you are not able to be at where you are looking forward to, but you are working towards it. And you're able to deal with it, that this thing is not yet a reality. It's not yet a reality, but I can do whatever I need to do day in, day out. It's a form of, as a form of mission statement that will eventually lead to the actualization of your vision or your dreams. And you are able to initiate and sustain mutual relationship with others. So you are able to initiate, you sustain mutual relationship with others. Mutual is very important. What it means is that life is like a symbiotic relationship. You contribute to others, others contribute to you. So if you are able to do all these things, all these conditions stated, you are said to be in a state of good mental health. So now, what is mental health or ailments? is a psychological disturbance which affects our thinking, our thoughts. Will be affected. Memory, the way we remember things. Emotion, the way we act, the way we react. Newton law of motion says action and reactions are equal and opposite. So the way we react to our emotion and our feelings, you know, a lot of people, they bottle up their feelings because they don't want to, maybe they want to offend others, or they don't want it to think otherwise about them. But if there is a psychological disturbance that affects your feelings significantly, that means there's a problem. And same action also. Initially, I talked about thinking, that is thoughts. It is after you've ruminated on your thoughts, that is when you act on it. But someone that has problem that has mental illness will not be able to ruminate on the thoughts. Just as is expected to be as is directed. And behavior, yes, behavior is there is a way I used to put it in the spiritual point of view that man is tripartite in nature. We are made up of the spirit, soul, and body. The body is the attribute that people see that they used to describe us. Don't you know that woman? That woman is on the big side. Don't you know that man? That lanky man, fair in complexion, is this. That is our body. The soul is the seat of our behavior. The behavior that what we do. People can use our behavior to also describe us. Don't you know that man that usually on the edge, any small thing like this that he will flare up. Don't you know him? Don't you know that man that is never patient? Whatever you want to say. So the spiritual aspect has to do with the level of our relationship with our God, or the level of our relationship with the supreme being. So that is by the way. So, and when someone has mental health, this mental health can be severe enough to cause pain or distress to the individual or the loved ones. I want us to know that it can be severe enough to cause pain. This pain may be psychological or physical pain. Yes, because someone that is suffering from mental illness and is aggressive, maybe physically aggressive, can cause pain to people around him or her, can be dangerous to people around him or her. Or if someone is verbally aggressive, can cause psychological pain by saying some things. And when the person is in his right frame of mind, you are able to tell him that this is what you said the other time. You say, I don't think I said that. Or maybe even if I said that, I wasn't in my right frame of mind. So, and another pain that mental health can cause to people around such an individual is stigma. They will stigmatize the person that is suffering from ill health, mental health, and also the people taking care of them. Even doctors. As a psychiatrist, there is a way, and your colleagues look at you. If you say something, they say, I know one of my deputy CMD, call it CMAC, of my hospital, I said it before. Why is it that you people behave like your patient? He said it. And I took an offense, but in the long run, I looked at it. Sometimes the way some of us behave also, it may not really sound well. So, and I also want us to know that it's associated with social and occupational impairment. Mental health is associated with social and occupational impairment. And it is discovered that a lot of GDP, gross domestic product, are lost every year due to mental health. And a lot of revenue are lost to mental health. That is why, as we take care, as governments bring out policies that will take care of physical health. So mental health is as equally important as the physical health. So, and I also want us to know that it affects 1 in 4 people, like 25% of the population. And some people may be saying, how is that possible? I went to a TV, a media house to present. It was a live television program, and I told them that mental illness is so common that it's like 25% of the population, like 1 in every 4. I said, as we are like 4 in this studio now, said there is a possibility that one of us will have one mental ill health or the other. I said, no, said, God forbid. And what they don't know is that there are so many gamuts of mental illness. There are some things that people don't consider as mental illness, but it's a form of mental illness. So this is what I want us to know. But I'm just allowing us to know the basic ones today, so that if you notice, so that you can have a high index of suspicion, if you notice any of the symptoms in someone very close to you, maybe in a family or a family member or a friend, so that you'll be able to quickly raise alarm, because the earlier such a problem is tackled, the better. Because by the time it becomes a chronic issue, it may lead to something else. So what should we know about mental ailments? There are different types, and they range from stress and stress-related disorder, which can manifest as anxiety disorder, and mood disorder. Under the mood disorder, we have the depressive disorder, the manic disorder, and the psychosis. Psychosis are the extreme end. They say someone is psychotic, that means he has an unusual behavior, which is, despite evidence to the contrary, he may have a belief that is holding on to, despite evidence to the contrary. This is what we call delusion. He's holding on to that belief, and the belief is not in consonance with the educational, religious, and cultural background of such an individual. And if such a belief is not shakable, that means there is a problem. So such an individual is deluded, and is one of the manifestations of psychosis. Or if the person is hallucinating, hallucination is perception in the absence of stimuli. So all these 5 sense organs, there can be hallucination. Hallucination can be present in all the 5 sense organs. But we are usually in the realm of psychiatry, we are usually more concerned about the sense of hearing, sense of vision, visual hallucination. So that's the sight, visual hallucination, smelling sometimes, olfactory hallucination may be a form of mental illness. There's also what we call gustatory hallucination. That is the way some in the area of taste, tasting something. And there is somatic hallucination. Somatic hallucination, that is sense of feeling, when you feel something on your skin, things that are not there. You say that someone has somatic hallucination. So, and we also need to know that it affects all age groups across the lifespan. Mental illness affects all age groups. Children, affect children, it affects adolescents, it affects adults. But where most of the ailments among adults, the onset may be between 15 to 25 years. And the onset may be subtle. It may be subtle, it may be insidious over time. But people may be noticing that there's a strange thing. You say, don't bother, it's just the manifestation of childhood exuberance. But by the time it becomes full-blown, the person may be in the early adulthood. And it is also seen in male and female. So there is no sexual predilection. So mental illness can be seen in males, can be seen in female. It does not discriminate by socioeconomic status, tribe, faith, or level of education. It doesn't discriminate. So we need to notice that. So these are some of the basic mental here. There is anxiety disorder here, depression disorder, bipolar mood disorder, maybe in form of manic disorder, manic hypomanic, personality disorders. It's a form of mental illness. Then eating disorder. Yes, is what we do. Eating disorder is anorexia nervosa, anorexia bulimia. So it's a form of and schizophrenia disorder. This one is at the extreme end. Schizophrenia can be the most severe form of psychotic disorder. So I also want us to know that most of the things that predispose people to mental illness, I've said it earlier, and I don't want to stay too much on this aspect. We need to notice the role stress and stressful situations play in the manifestation of mental illness. So we need to know that in stressful situations, difficult thoughts and feelings occur, and we are pulled away from our values. So stressful situations can be a precursor to mental illness. That is why I said that one of the attributes of mental well-being is someone being able to cope with stress of life. Someone being able to cope with stress of life. But if you are not able to cope, the elastic limits of your coping strategy or coping mechanism is exceeded. That means one form of mental illness or the other can come in. So excessive continuous stressors. Stressors are those things that cause stress. So excessive continuous stressors become distressing, leading to mental health challenges, which lowers productivity at work, adversely affecting our quality of life. So once our productivity, because the days you're supposed to go to shop to go and sell your products, because of the fact that you have paranoia that your neighbor at shop wants to kill you, wants to harm you, and because of that, you decide not to go. Such a day will be a day your biggest customer will come around to buy things. Because you didn't come, you've lost a customer. So there is adverse effect on your productivity in that area, and definitely it's going to have a long-run effect on your quality of life. Because when you are not able to make profits, that means your quality of life will be affected. So this is just a diagram to illustrate that. So let's look at common mental health conditions. Major depression. So depression, some people may see people who have mental illness, they prefer being called depressed because they believe that depression is better acceptable in the society. If they say someone is depressed, in Yoruba parlance, they call it irewesi okan. So it can happen to anybody, especially with the economic situation, the inflationary trends and the likes. You want to do certain things, you don't have enough money. The enough money you used to have in your hand that will do such a thing, that will buy such a product, or that will provide such a service before, and you still have some change in your hand. But what you have now cannot even do that. Say, that one can lead to depression or some. But we need to know that depression is one of the major mental ill health. And it can affect our emotion and manifest as undue sadness. Such an individual will not be able to know, sometimes you will not be able to know the reason why they are sad. They are persistently and pervasively sad. Yeah, I've seen some patients before, they will tell you that, great doctor, that is when they are getting better. I said, doctor, I didn't really know what came on me. That life has been so good to me. By the grace of God, I married a caring spouse, doing well in my career. But I just discovered that I wasn't happy at all. Everything just going down the drain. And one of the things we also need to know, there are things we call core symptoms of depression. One of the core symptoms of depression is undue sadness. Another core symptom is loss of interest. We call it anhedonia. Lots of interest in things that one used to enjoy doing. If the person is the type that used to enjoy playing football, by the time depression comes in, it will not see any reason why it needs to do that. The type that used to like watching sports, watching movies, going to the cinema. In fact, that will not be there. Another core symptom is fatigue, undue fatigue or weakness, which is the manifestation in the physical aspect of the symptom. So those are the three core symptoms, whereas other symptoms are just like the additional symptoms of depression, like hopelessness. Such an individual can be hopeless, be helpless. There will be undue guilt feeling. Such an individual may be thinking that all the problems that are happening in this world, that is the one responsible for it. And you ask him or her, how does that happen? I will not be able to explain. He just believes that all the misfortunes, they are the one responsible. So sometimes they may be irritable. But people that are depressed, they are not expected to be irritable. But there is a type of depression we call atypical depression. Such individuals are irritable. So anything you bring, anything you talk to them, anything you tell them about, they respond with a very high sense of irritability. The feeling of emptiness is also there, feeling of emptiness and feeling of helplessness, as I said earlier on. In the realm of the thoughts, there is lots of concentration, and they have trouble making decisions. Yes, because they lose concentration a lot. And some of them may have memory problem. The memory problem is not because they are demented, not because they have dementia. But the memory problem, that's why they call depression pseudo-dementia. That's a fake dementia. The memory problem they have is because they lose concentration easily. They lose concentration. So everything, there is nothing so important to them. They may lose concentration to the extent that they can't even remember the date of birth of their children. That's what depression can do. There is also suicidal thoughts, or what we call suicidal ideation. Some of them will be thinking it's even better they are dead. If you have someone going through any of these symptoms, I think it's better you raise alarm, because so that at the end of the day, they will not be calling you for psychological autopsy. They will not be calling you. You are very close to the person. What were the last moments of such an event? That means when the person must have completed suicide. So I pray God forbid. Then physical aspect. Hello? So I'm dwelling so much on the major depression because it's very, very common. It's very, very common. So please need to, then there could be loss of appetite and weight changes. In some people, they lose appetite. They will not even feel like eating. They will not feel like eating at all. So they will also lose weight. But in some people, instead of them losing appetite, they have a frivolous appetite for sugary things. This is also a form of atypical depression. They have cravings for carbohydrates and sugary things. So such an individual, they put on weight so rapidly. Then that means you need to know that such an individual may be depressed. Then there may be unexplained aches and pains. Some may even be telling you that you may complain about crawling sensation, peppery sensation, all these somatic symptoms, bodily symptoms. It's even common among we Africans. Bodily symptoms are common among we Africans because we somatize our feelings a lot. So there may be insomnia, that's a poor sleep. Poor sleep, that means poor sleep has to do with the quantity and quality of sleep. So people may be telling you that I sleep for like 7 hours in the night, but the bottom line is that they are not usually refreshed when they wake up in the morning. And there may be excessive sleepiness, hypersomnia. So if someone it's also a form of atypical depression. And fatigue, undue weakness is also there. Then loss of libido is also there, because if this may be a form of high index of suspicion, if your spouse is the type that will be the one that will first Please, can someone is causing a distraction here. Please, can you please mute the audio? Can you please mute the audio? Please. Okay, thank you. So I'll move to the next one, the bipolar disorder. Bipolar means two poles. Two poles. One pole, at one pole is the depressive episode, and at the other pole may be the manic episode. In depressive episode, everything is just going down, as I explained what happened in depression the other time. Whereas in the manic pole, everything is going up. So manic episode is just like the direct opposite of depressive episode. So we call it bipolar in such a way that if someone experiences depression as a single episode, we can't call it bipolar. It's just a depressive disorder. But by the time the person has another episode and it's the manic manifestation, this is manic manifestation, so we can definitely call it bipolar. But another school of thought from the point of view of the American Psychiatric Association is that if someone has a single episode of manic disorder, it's still bipolar, because it is quite possible that such an individual could have had an episode of depression, maybe not significant enough for people to recognize or for the person to seek help. So it's quite possible that could have happened. So they can still confidently say that the person has bipolar affective disorder. So what the manifestation here is that in the aspect of the emotion, the person is upbeat, the person is wired, always on the edge. He has expansive ideas, things that the person cannot achieve in a decade. He will tell you that within a week, he will achieve it. I used to have a patient who said that who has been treating for bipolar disorder for years. Got to a time we needed to recognize the fact that this man may have to live with this symptom, provided it's not disturbing anybody. He will be telling you he has idea. The man is in his 60s. Said his idea is to have a teaching hospital, a private teaching hospital, whereby you employ professors of medicine. And then someone that is really finding it difficult to collect to get his pension and gratuity. So he's telling you that he's finding it difficult even to hit 3 square meals. But he's telling everybody. So he has a very serious, expansive ideas. So, and such an individual is euphoric. You ask them that, how happy are you if you are put on an imaginary scale of 0 to 10? The person will tell you that, how can you be using 10? 10 is very, very small. Whereas I am now, the level of my happiness is even beyond 100. So you may note that such an individual is having a manic episode of bipolar affective disorder. And in the area of thought, such an individual has grandiose or racing thoughts. Grandiose thoughts or grandiose delusion. When the thought becomes of a belief that is unshakable. So such an individual may be telling you that they are the lieutenants of God. Some of them may even be telling you that they are God. If people want to pray, if people need to pray, they need to go through them. People using the name of Jesus, they are blaspheming. Supposed to use their name to get to God. So, and they are highly distractible because they want to make comments with everything happening around them. They are highly distractible. They have excessive self-confidence. So such an individual, they minimize danger. So people who have this kind of mental illness, they also have high level of libido or energy. We thought that's the manifestation in the physical area. So because they have high level of libido, they can just go anywhere to seek for sex. So because they minimize danger, they believe, they say, don't you think you can catch disease? They say, which kind of disease? Which disease which ailment will affect God? Don't you know I'm a God? All those things. So they minimize danger. They have excessive self-confidence. Some of them, such individuals can live, despite the fact that everybody knows that secure situation is not good enough, they can leave one major city for another, very good distance apart. They can live in the middle of the night, so that nothing will happen. So, and they lack judgment. Yes, they lack judgment. They do some things, and you ask them why did they do that. They won't be able to give you tangible reason for doing that, and they take risk. So just to almost in the same thing, in the same way with what I just said, they take extreme risk. Some of them can drive at a very, very serious top speed, not minding what will happen. So in the physical aspect, they have increased energy or agitation. They are hyperactive, and they have reduced need for sleep. They have reduced need for sleep, or reduced need for them to reduce their appetite. So, so when you ask them, they are, don't you think you should sleep by now? They will sleep well, sleep care. When there are so many problems for me to solve, when the whole world is turned upside down, you're not telling me to sleep. Don't you know that I've been sent to this world to solve problems? So if some of them if they sleep for 1 hour, they will tell you that 1 hour in the night, but that 1 hour is enough for them. So with this condition, they are even hardly asleep. We have to give them medications that force them to sleep. So the next thing that is also common is postpartum depression. It's also known as the other side of motherhood, postpartum depression. In Yoruba parlance, we call it abisiwin. If someone if there have any Yoruba person here, you will understand what I mean. Because there is a belief, a local belief, cultural belief that certain families, this thing is rampant in certain families. Yeah, it's on one hand, it may be a myth. On the other hand, it may be a fact, because there may be a kind of high genetic loading in such a family. So I also want us to know that when we're talking about postpartum depression, there could be a mild form of it. We call it postpartum blues. And the other end of it may manifest as postpartum psychosis. So like depression is like the in-between. So it depends on the way you see it. And it occurs anytime from delivery to a year after baby's birth. So at least a year. So when the baby is at the realm of infancy, postpartum depression can set in. And such an individual can have depressive symptoms, like the depressive symptoms I mentioned the other time. Because you expect the period that someone gives birth to be the period of joy, because you are carrying life that you gave birth to in your hands. But it will be the other way around for such a mother. And they might be manifest with excessive crying, withdrawing from family, difficulty bonding with the new baby. Some of them may not even breastfeed their baby. Say that they will tell you that they are a bad mother. Some may even tell you that if they breastfeed the baby, they will infect the baby. Infect the baby with what? You don't have any infection. Say no, you don't understand. Some may even tell you that they know that they have HIV. Whereas it's not true. And so, this may be severe enough to have trouble caring for your baby, or they may even kill the baby. That's what we call infanticide. Some of them may kill their baby because they believe that they brought the baby to the world, so for the baby to suffer. So for the baby not to suffer again, the best thing is for them to strangulate or kill the baby. So that is if someone close to you is manifesting any of these things, so you need any of the symptoms, please be of help. Be of help on time, so that not just because of the woman, also because of the baby, so that then premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Premenstrual dysphoric disorder. This is also a common thing that we see among women. This may manifest with mood swings. There are some people, they are very close to us. Whenever they are having mood swings, you know that they are at the peri-menstrual period. They are around their menstrual period. So such an individual may need help. They need to see a psychiatrist, and in the long term, a clinical psychologist. They are usually irritable. They may have symptoms of depression. They have cramps, abdominal cramps, the bloating. They feel bloated. That's the inflammation. They feel inflamed. Every part of their body. They have pain, headaches. The symptoms start about a week to 10 days before period and go away after the period begins. But such an individual may need what we call supportive psychotherapy. So even if you are not going to give them medication, because you're going to give medication, you may give medication that will take care of the major physical symptoms. But you're not going to give, at least they may need talk therapy. So anxiety disorders, there are gamut of anxiety disorders. So, and it is also very, very, very common. Very, very common. We have generalized anxiety disorder, which can manifest as restlessness, being on edge, irritability, excessive worry, unrealistic view of self, environment, and future. They also have trouble concentrating. So they can also manifest as muscle tension, headache, and sweating excessively, which some people describe as, which some people tag as tremulousness, in a bit tremulous. It's nausea, feeling of as if they want to vomit, frequent urination, and tiredness, sleep problems, intermittent wakefulness. Those who have this kind of condition, you have intermittent wakefulness, trembling. Startling, they are usually they are easily startled, starting easily. So these are the basic forms of anxiety disorder. We have panic disorder. There's agoraphobia. Believe that the commonest among the anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and agoraphobia. And PTS, post-traumatic stress disorder, is also a form of panic disorder. It's a form of anxiety disorder, and it's also acute stress disorder. Acute stress disorder comes up and resolves on its own after some time. There's also obsessive compulsive disorder. I'll talk also.
Dr. Israel.
Yes, thank you.
Dr. Israel.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah,
Hello.
Sorry, I wanted to draw your attention. Yeah, I want to draw your attention to the fact that there are some questions that people are asking. So
okay,
yes.
I've not been able to check that.
Okay, some people have sent
me. Do you want me to be answering those questions intermittently?
Yeah, so I don't know how long whether there are some more slides or.
Yes, I'll quickly brush through.
Okay,
I laid more emphasis on those earlier ailments because of how common they are, and how people could be of like a kind of awareness campaign. So thank you. So there's obsessive compulsive disorder, a form of anxiety disorder, social phobia, generalized anxiety disorder, mixed anxiety. So let's quickly move. Okay. So the obsessive compulsive disorder, this is also relatively common. You could have seen some people around you who have who manifest some of these symptoms. Some of these people, there's what we call obsessive aspect of it has to do with the thoughts. Where the compulsive aspect of it is the action you carried out as a result of the thoughts. And the thoughts are usually distressing until you carry out the action. Such an individual may not feel relieved. And the person knows that this thought is his own thoughts. It's not like unlike psychotic thought insertion that you see in schizophrenia, whereby someone believes that an external person is inserting the thought in him or or her. But this one, people who are suffering from this know that these are their own thoughts, but they don't have control over it. So some of them may have fear of death or contamination. They have doubting thoughts, uncertainty. They will need things to be symmetrical. Yes, needs things to be symmetrical. They have thought of losing control or harming themselves if they don't carry out that thought. Some of them may be thinking they can lose control, or some of them will be thinking that if they don't if they don't do what these thoughts is telling them, they may they may go amok. So there's unwanted aggressive sexual or religious thoughts. Some of them may have this. Then the compulsive aspect of it, we call it rituals that they carry out. That can be excessive washing and cleaning. There are people who are suffering from there. I used to have a patient like that can wash her hand almost 50 times in a day, to the extent that they had to be hiding soap away from her. Despite that, she'll still be using ordinary water. So there can be checking rituals. Such an individual may believe as they are going out, they would have gotten to the bottom of the thoughts to tell them that you've not locked your door. Go back again. And these thoughts are so distressing and cause them a lot. Some of them, these thoughts even go to the extent of costing them their job. Because you guys are supposed to resume at a particular point, at a particular time, you are at the bus stop, there's a very good distance from your home, because the thought is telling you not lock your door, you go back. Counting rituals. You give them money, they can count the money 100 times. You see the thought will be telling them the money is not complete. They have strict adherence to a routine, and you can't change their routine. That is the bottom line. They need constant reassurance that everything is okay. Then panic disorder, sense of impending doom, fear of death, feeling of unreality. I also want us to note something about panic disorder is that when there is a manifestation or an episode, people will be thinking the person is having seizure disorder, maybe thinking the person is convulsing, but it's not. Because the presentation may look as if the person is convulsing, but it's not. So such individual may have nausea, chest pain, headache, lightheadedness, numbness or tingling sensation, shortness of breath, rapid heart rate, trembling, chills, sweating, abdominal cramping. There is fear of impending doom. Some of them may be thinking that they will die in the next minute. So then phobias, mental disorder in which one feels extreme fear when something triggers the phobia. So there are gamut, so many things that someone can have phobia to. Some people it's aerophobia, fear of flying. Some people it's cytophobia. So some it is tocophobia, fear of giving back. So so many things. Cytophobia, fear of eating, that if they believe that if they eat, they will put on weight. So many things can trigger it. To the heights, fear of heights, maybe snake, closing spaces. Yeah, or a range of other possibilities. So then so people, they have fear of dying, fear of losing control of fainting, sense of being detached from their body. So they may be unsteady, lightheadedness, dizziness, choking sensation, pounding heart or fast heartbeat, as if they had to stop in the next minute. Chest pain or tightness, excessive sweating. Some of them have shortness of breath, nausea, tingling, and trembling. So agoraphobia is avoiding go to or even thinking about places. They avoid open places. So people who have agoraphobia, situations that bring up feeling like helplessness, they have feeling of embarrassment, a sense of being threatened. So social anxiety, fear of being judged, embarrassed, fear of being scrutinized or humiliated by strangers, that others will notice you look anxious. So they avoid speaking, public speaking. Yeah, a lot of people who have oratory speaking today. Some of them started with the level of social anxiety, but they were able to overcome it. And today, they can stand in front of a crowd, even in a stadium, and speak. So you need to you need to know that blushing, they have trembling, sweating, fast heartbeats, all those things. Then post-traumatic stress disorder. So this one has to do with intrusive memory, nightmare, avoiding anything that reminds you of the event, especially, for example, so it can happen in a child that has a traumatic childhood. So they are being easily startled, trouble sleeping, irritability, anger, aggression, feeling emotional, and the likes. So let me quickly move to acute psychotic disorder. The mental disorder in which psychotic disorder is the mental disorder in which there is a break with reality. Some of these are chronic, while others are short-lived. I've described this earlier on, that may manifest with delusion, manifest with hallucination, or disorganized behavior. So schizophrenia is at the extreme end. So symptoms of schizophrenia can include hallucination, delusion, dysfunctional ways of thinking. It also manifests with movement disorder. That's the form of catatonic schizophrenia. Negative symptoms will reduce facial expression, decreased feeling of pleasure in the everyday life, trouble starting or continuing with activities, speaking very little, and schizoaffective disorder. Schizoaffective disorder is a combination of schizophrenia and affective disorder. I mentioned earlier on that affective disorder can manifest as depressive or manic disorder. So if the two are together and they start almost at the same time, and wait, they co-occur together, wait for wait. So you can say confidently say the person is having schizoaffective disorder. And it's a mix of schizophrenic disorder and mood disorder. The two types of schizoaffective disorder are manic types and depressive type. Yes. I've said that. So in addition to manic or depressed and schizophrenic symptoms, someone with this mental health issue might have incoherent speech, bizarre behavior, trouble functioning at work, school, or in social situations, and problem with grooming. So acute or brief psychotic disorder. Let's quickly move. Personality disorder. Personality disorder is also a very important form of mental health issue. And if someone is not able to understand this, you may be thinking the person is doing whatever he or she is doing deliberately, but not knowing that it's something that has become has grown from being a personality trait to becoming a disorder. And these are mental health problems that last for many years, or even for someone's entire life. And onset is usually at 18 years, around 18 years. So when one asks one of these mental health disorders, his thoughts, emotions, and action are dysfunctional, and they bring harm to his relationship and other aspects of his life. The personality disorder are distributed into three main clusters. There's cluster A, cluster B, and cluster C. In the cluster A, we have what we call schizoid and paranoid disorder. We have antisocial disorder. So we have schizoid, schizotypal, and paranoid disorder. Sorry, antisocial belongs to cluster B. In cluster B, we have antisocial disorder. Such an individual is cruel to animals, cruel to I just want to paraphrase it so that we won't spend so much time. There is antisocial disorder. There is borderline personality disorder. There is histrionic personality disorder. And there is also narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissistic is gotten from the word narcissist. And if you remember who a narcissist is, you can't forget Adolf Hitler. he was a narcissist. So they have little empathy for others. They are self-centered and have excessive elevated self-image. They think they have extraordinary power, talent, and beauty. So they expect others to praise them continuously. And the borderline, these people are impulsive. They just do things without thoughts. So the borderline is a very dangerous form of personality disorder because most people who commit suicide, they have borderline personality disorder. Because some of them will just carry out things that are uncalled for. But if you ask them why did they do that, they won't be able to give reason for it. So some of them in the process may try things that can lead to them committing suicide. So they have unstable self-image and intense relationship. They have mood swings and suicidal behavior. Yes, they are also fearful to be alone and may have transitory paranoia. They just move from one subject. They have paranoid behavior about to another. Avoidant personality disorder is one of the components of cluster C. In cluster C, we have avoidant, we have dependent, and also we have anarchistic or obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So these people, they are extremely sensitive to rejection and criticism. They avoid interpersonal contact and new activities. They may be very shy and feel inferior to others. Their mental health suffers partly because they become so isolated from others. They're paranoid, they are distrust, they are suspicious of others. These people, they keep malice because they believe people don't like them, people want to harm them. They really think that others are trying to hurt them or that they are untrustworthy. They hold grudges and they become hostile. So dependence, they feel excessively dependent on others. Such an individual, they are clingy or submissive. If you have a spouse that has dependent personality disorder, such an individual believes that if you live their life, they believe they may not be able to live on their own. They fear to be on their own, having to take care of themselves, disagree with others, or disapproval. They are the yes people. Whatever you say, they say yes. They don't even scrutinize whatever you tell them. They might have low self-confidence and difficulty doing activities on their own. Even if their relationship partner abuses them, they might put up with it. So that's a lot of women or men who are abused in relationship. They have dependent personality disorder, but they don't know when to take a leave or when to run for their life. So, and if relationship ends despite this, they might feel the need to jump into another relationship immediately. So,
Doctor.
Yes. So let's go. Okay.
There's a question also in connection with what we just said.
Okay.
Actually, our time is.
Should we look? Let's look at the questions. Let's look at the questions.
Okay.
So are they in the chat box, Abby?
Yeah. So some of the questions have been sent to me directly.
Okay.
But anybody who has questions can kindly put them also in the chat box so that I'll read them out for Dr. Israel to address them. So one question here is that my husband easily gets provoked after every conversation. Yeah. This started after he did not receive a promotion at work. Could this be a mental health issue, and how do I address it?
It's quite possible it's not a mental health issue yet, but it may be a precursor to mental health issue. If such an individual is not, to now make the matter worse, if you have a nagging spouse that is not helping the situation, there's a thin line. What I want us to know that is a thin line between sanity and insanity. Anybody can cross the line at any time. If such a man is not having it well, right, is not enjoying the relationship at work, but the spouse must be a source of succor, such a man. So I would not say outrightly that the man has crossed the line, that is the manifestation of mental illness, but it may be a precursor to it. It's just that maybe such an individual is finding it difficult to cope with the stress of life. Maybe being due for promotion and you are not promoted. It's a stress of life. Do you understand? So if you are not able to just see it as one of those things, one of those setbacks, and you gather yourself together, so it may be something that is tipping the person, and the person may eventually tip the person to mental illness if care is not taken. So that is that. But I don't want to stigmatize the person that is having a mental illness, but there is a stressor which is not being promoted, despite the fact that you are qualified and you are due. So that's the stressor. So, or if care is not taken, I hope I've been able to answer that.
Yes, it's well addressed. It's well addressed. The second one is you made mention in your presentation that 1 out of 4 people have mental health challenges.
Yes.
How can we promote a culture of well-being and mental health within our organization?
Yes, well, like one of the ways we can do that is what I'm doing now. Like I'm having a kind of seminar or a presentation with you now. You know, some of those things that you could handle with levity before, you are now aware that there could be a symptom of mental ill health or something that can tip someone to having mental ill health. So through that, if you notice something like that, maybe in your colleagues at work, you can go to any length to be of help to such an individual, or you too, you can be an advocate of mental health awareness. Let people know that what they need to do to keep their sanity. Because one of the things I want us to know is that once someone is stamped, one is mental illness diagnosis is stamped on someone, it's like calling someone an ex-convict. So it's usually even when the person is okay, everything about the person is okay, but that thing is already there. The person has to be going through treatment. So why not do everything we need to do to prevent? Because what I want us to know that mental illness is the possibility of someone relapsing is very, very high. It's very, 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 very high. So whatever you need to do to keep your sanity, to keep your to keep yourself in such a way that you won't cross the line, I think it should be done. So it should be of help in your places of work. Be your brother's keeper. Let people know. One of the areas we can start from is in the area of sleep hygiene. Some of us, we have poor hygiene when it comes to sleep. When we need to sleep well, to have a refreshed feeling, we will not sleep. And the cumulative effect of these things may eventually lead to something that can tip us to mental illness. So for the sake of our time, I won't want to dwell so much on that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
The next question is, what are some practical steps I can take to prioritize self-care while balancing the demands of my job?
Yeah, I think we talked about this in the first presentation we had about stress, coping with stress and stressful situations. You need to understand yourself. You need to understand yourself. If you stress yourself during the week with your jobs, especially some of my colleagues who live in a city like Lagos. Lagos is a very difficult city to live because you can't predict the traffic situation. And almost everybody you see on the streets is on the edge. Even when you ask for people space to move on the road, you see the way they will respond to you. They're thinking you've been fighting. They've known you over years, and you're fighting them over years. And because everybody is on the edge. So the bottom line is that you should understand yourself, those things that make you to cope well with stress of life. Try as much as possible to observe them to the letter. If you know yourself that if you don't rest well during the weekend, that the remaining working days of the following week, the working days of the following week will be a disaster. So whatever activities have been packed into the weekend, you try as much as possible to ignore some of them. Because, because some people, they will leave very early, they leave their house very early in the morning to go to work, get home late. Saturday, that they're supposed to use to rest, they will use it to go and for one ceremony or the other, and they come home late. Sunday, they leave home very early to go to church. and they come home late also. Before you know it, they know that it's already Monday. So try as much as possible to take some rest. That's just the bottom line. Take some rest and try to ignore some things. Please, someone should mute speaker. That thing is causing a lot of disturbance here. Please, admin should help us mute. Please help us mute Abdullah Jandaro. Please.
Kindly mute kindly mute from your end if the sound is coming from your end.
So what I was trying to say is that you need to try as much as possible to understand your system, and then make sure you do everything that will make you to cope with the stress of life. So don't over exaggerate. Don't exaggerate your strength. That's what I'm trying to say, because anybody can cross the line anytime. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Israel, for such an insightful and thought-provoking presentation. We really appreciate it. For me, one of my key takeaways is the fact that 1 out of 4 people, 1 out of every 4 people, that's about 25%, have mental health challenges. And then depression is one of the major mental health challenges that we have. And therefore, we need to be empathetic with people experiencing mental health issues. It's one of my major key takeaways. Once again, thank you to all participants for attending today's workshop. And please don't forget to visit our website, Silent Scream Foundation. The website address is silentscreamfoundation.org. Also, like, share, and comment on our social media handles. We are on Facebook at Silent Scream Foundation. We are on YouTube at www.youtube.com. You can search us on YouTube with Silent Scream Foundation. We are also on LinkedIn. And also, we want to remind each and every participant or member that we have a support group. So there's a support group. You can call this number 053 016 7953. 053 016 7953. If you have any mental health issue, or you know anyone who has any mental health issue or challenge, please don't hesitate to get in touch with Silent Scream Foundation. We are a nonprofit organization, and basically our services are free. Once again, we want to say a very big thank you to Dr. Israel for this insightful presentation. We really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone for being part of today's training. Thank you.
So thank you, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Dr. Israel. We are very grateful.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
More anointing.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And also, those who are still on, the training is recorded. And so you can go to our YouTube channel. It will be uploaded on YouTube. You can always revisit it, and then, or share it also with friends and family. Thank you very much.
So have a wonderful time. I will send the slides to